We often look up at the night sky and marvel at the brilliance of stars, those distant, burning orbs that seem eternal. Yet, astronomers tell us a different story, a profound truth about cosmic existence. Stars, in their grandiosity, are utterly, beautifully recycled. Their lives, from birth in nebulae to their spectacular deaths as supernovae or white dwarfs, aren't an end, but a majestic transformation. The matter they contain, the very atoms forged in their fiery hearts, are ultimately returned to the cosmos, becoming the building blocks for new stars, new planets, even new life. Our own sun, for instance, is a later generation star, formed from the remnants of previous stellar explosions. Every atom in our bodies, the carbon, the oxygen, the iron, was once forged in the crucible of a dying star. We are, quite literally, stardust, part of an ongoing, immense cosmic recycling program. Now, take a moment to really consider that. A cycle of death and rebirth, not just metaphorical, but tangible, physical. It's a concept that resonates deeply, doesn't it? Because it mirrors a question humanity has pondered for millennia, one that touches the very core of our existence. What happens to time's us asterisk, to our consciousness, our essence, our soul, after our physical form fades? What if the universe, in its elegant efficiency, applies this same principle of recycling not just to matter and energy, but to consciousness itself? What if souls, in some profound, yet to be understood way, are recycled like stars? This isn't just a poetic analogy. It's a concept deeply embedded in numerous spiritual traditions, a recurring theme in humanity's quest to understand death and what lies beyond. And in our modern era, it's finding intriguing, albeit speculative, parallels in the cutting edge of scientific thought, particularly in quantum physics. Think about it. The universe doesn't waste anything. Energy isn't created or destroyed, merely transformed. This fundamental law of conservation applies to everything we can measure. If consciousness is real, if it's more than just a fleeting chemical reaction in the brain, then what becomes of it when the brain ceases to function? Could it too be subject to a form of cosmic conservation, a recycling, a transformation? This isn't about blind faith. This is about exploring a possibility, a grand unified theory of existence, where the cosmic dance of creation and destruction, the endless recycling of stars, might just offer a profound clue to our own destiny. We're going to delve into ancient wisdom, unpack the scientific whispers of quantum mechanics, and ultimately invite you to consider a universe where every ending is truly just a new beginning. For everything, including you. The idea of souls being recycled, or what we commonly call reincarnation or transmigration, is a cornerstone of many spiritual and philosophical traditions across the globe. It suggests that when a person dies, their consciousness or soul, that unique essence of who they are, doesn't simply vanish. Instead, it transitions to be reborn into a new body, embarking on a new life. For instance, in Hinduism, the soul, or times Atman asterisk, is considered eternal. It undergoes a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as times samsara asterisk. The circumstances of each rebirth are heavily influenced by times karma asterisk, the sum of one's actions in previous lives. Good deeds can lead to a more favorable rebirth, while negative actions can result in a more challenging existence. The ultimate goal in Hinduism, however, isn't endless recycling, but times moksha asterisk, a liberation from this cycle of times samsara asterisk, where the soul achieves unity with the divine. Buddhism, while emerging from similar roots, offers a slightly different perspective. It also embraces the concept of rebirth and times samsara asterisk, driven by times karma asterisk. However, in Buddhism, there isn't a permanent, unchanging soul in the same way. What reincarnates is more akin to a stream of consciousness or a collection of karmic imprints. The aim here is times nirvana asterisk, a state of enlightenment where suffering ceases and one escapes the cycle of rebirth entirely. These ancient wisdom traditions present a coherent, albeit spiritual, framework for soul recycling. They speak of lessons to be learned, spiritual evolution, and a journey towards a higher state of consciousness. They suggest that these cycles are not arbitrary, but purposeful, guiding the soul towards growth and ultimate liberation. Now, this leads us to a fundamental question. If souls are recycled, why don't we remember our past lives? It's a common query, and one that these traditions address. Many suggest that a curtain is drawn over past life memories, or that they are muted to prevent confusion and allow focus on the current life's lessons. Some believe that only a small portion of our entire soul incarnates, with the majority residing in a spirit realm, retaining memories. While some individuals do report past life memories, often through specific practices like past life regression, for most, it's a blank slate. This amnesia, it's argued, is part of the process, a necessary component for the soul's evolution. But what about beyond these spiritual frameworks? Can modern science, with its rigorous empirical methods, offer any insights into such a profound concept? The answer, surprisingly, is that while direct proof remains elusive, certain cutting-edge areas of physics are beginning to hint at possibilities that resonate with these ancient ideas. Consider the law of conservation of energy. It's a bedrock principle of physics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. Our brains, the very seat of our consciousness, are incredibly energy-intensive organs. They consume a disproportionately large amount of the body's total energy budget, around 20%, despite making up only 2% of our mass. If consciousness is, in some way, an emergent property of this energetic activity in the brain, then the question naturally arises, where does that consciousness energy go when the brain dies? Some philosophical perspectives suggest that if consciousness is real and the principle of conservation is universal, then consciousness must also be permanent and conserved in some form, even if not visible or obvious. This doesn't mean it retains its individual identity as you or me in the conventional sense, but rather that its underlying energetic or informational essence persists. This is where the fascinating and often controversial field of quantum physics enters the discussion. Quantum mechanics deals with the universe's tiniest constituents, revealing a reality vastly different from our everyday experience, a world of probabilities, interconnectedness, and non-locality. Some hypotheses, collectively known as the quantum mind or quantum consciousness theories, propose that consciousness might be inherently linked to quantum processes at a subatomic level within our brains. One prominent example is the Orch-Or theory, proposed by Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff. They suggest that neural microtubules, tiny structures within brain cells, could maintain quantum coherence, essentially acting as a single quantum system. They postulate that consciousness may operate as a quantum wave passing through these microtubules, with moments of conscious experience arising from the collapse of quantum wave functions within the brain. Other quantum concepts also spark intriguing parallels. Quantum entanglement, for instance, describes how two particles can become instantaneously connected, regardless of distance. Some speculate if this could hint at a form of collective consciousness or interconnectedness within the universe itself, potentially explaining phenomena like intuition or empathy. If reality is fundamentally informational, as many interpretations of quantum physics suggest, then consciousness could be deeply interwoven into this informational fabric. These are highly theoretical and debated ideas, certainly not mainstream science yet. Critics argue that the warm, wet environment of the brain is too noisy for delicate quantum effects to persist long enough to be relevant to consciousness. However, recent studies are exploring how certain fatty materials in the brain, like myelin, might provide the ideal environment for quantum entanglement. So, while we're not talking about direct scientific proof of soul recycling, these quantum theories open a door, suggesting that consciousness might not be merely a localized, ephemeral byproduct of the brain. They hint at a more fundamental, possibly universal aspect of reality, something that could, in principle, exist beyond individual biological forms. This brings us to the concept of a universal consciousness, or universal mind. This metaphysical idea posits an underlying individuating essence of all beings and becomings in the universe, suggesting that all existence is fundamentally interconnected through a shared field of awareness. Ancient philosophies like Advaita, Vedanta, and Taoism have long emphasized the unity of all existence, and modern metaphysics proposes that consciousness isn't confined to individuals but permeates the cosmos. If we consider this universal consciousness, then our individual consciousness might be seen as a localized expression, a unique wave or eddy within a vast cosmic ocean of awareness. When our physical bodies cease to function, our individual wave might recede back into that ocean, to be re-expressed elsewhere in another form, at another time. It's a compelling idea, isn't it? A cyclical flow of consciousness, analogous to the flow of matter and energy in stellar evolution. Let's draw a more direct parallel to the stars. Stars are born, they shine brightly, they create heavier elements, and then they die. Their death, however, isn't an end. It's a dispersal of these elements, enriching the interstellar gas clouds. These enriched clouds then collapse to form new stars, new planetary systems. Each generation of stars is literally made from the ashes of previous generations. Now, transpose that to the idea of consciousness. What if our individual lives are like individual stars? We are born, we experience, we learn, we contribute, and then we die. Upon our death, perhaps the essence of our accumulated experience, our consciousness, is released back into a universal field. This enriched field then perhaps contributes to the formation of new conscious entities, new souls, or a continuation of existing ones, perhaps carrying subtle imprints or karmic lessons from prior existences. It's not about the same you waking up in a new body with all your memories intact, but rather a more fundamental energetic or informational transfer. This cosmic recycling theory, whether applied to stars or to consciousness, speaks to an inherent order and efficiency in the universe. It suggests that nothing is truly lost, only transformed. The energy of a dying star doesn't disappear, it fuels new creation. The consciousness of a dying being, perhaps, doesn't disappear either. It re-enters the universal wellspring, awaiting new expression. There's a deep resonance here with the concept of spiritual evolution. If souls are recycled, it's often proposed as a mechanism for growth. Each life offers new experiences, new opportunities to learn and evolve. It's a journey, not a single destination. Imagine the cumulative wisdom, the vast spectrum of experiences that could be held within a continuously recycling stream of consciousness. This perspective gives profound meaning to suffering, to challenges, seeing them as catalysts for growth. Of course, this raises many questions. Does this recycling imply a finite number of souls, as some ancient texts might suggest? Or is consciousness, like energy, always in flux, continually manifesting in new forms? Some theories propose that consciousness is an emergent property of wave interactions within a universal wave field, constantly modulating and creating localized phenomena. This would suggest an infinite potential for conscious experience, rather than a limited pool of souls being rationed. The sheer scale of the universe also offers a humbling perspective. Our individual lives, our personal joys and sorrows, are infinitesimal against the backdrop of cosmic time and space. Yet, if we are part of this grand recycling, then our individual existence holds a profound, interconnected significance. We are not isolated entities, but integral threads in the vast tapestry of existence. Consider the implications for our daily lives. If we genuinely embrace the idea that our consciousness is part of a larger, recycling system, how would it change our perspective on life, death, and our interactions with others? Would it foster a deeper sense of responsibility for our actions, knowing that they might contribute to a karmic stream that continues beyond this single lifetime? Would it inspire a greater appreciation for the present moment, understanding that each experience is a unique and valuable facet of an ongoing journey? This journey into the idea of recycled souls, much like the journey of stardust, is one of constant transformation and renewal. It challenges our conventional linear understanding of life and death, inviting us to embrace a more cyclical, interconnected view of existence. It's a conversation that bridges the ancient with the modern, the spiritual with the scientific, all seeking to understand the most profound mystery of all, the nature of consciousness itself, and its place in the grand, ever-evolving cosmos.